This is 2001 Toyota Unser. This is my Toyota Unser. Even though this car is a Japanese brand, you won't find any JDM version of this because this, my friend, is never sold and produced in Japan. This particular Toyota originated from Indonesia with the original name Toyota Kijang. Kijang means barking deer in Indonesian, also an acronym for Kerja Sama Indonesia-Jepang, or in English, Indonesia-Japan Cooperation. From my research, Unser is a German word for hour. This first generation of Kijang was the first one available in Malaysia and was assembled in Shah Alam plant in Selangor. It came out in 1997 to 2004 and went through two facelifts. The first facelift reduced the cost of manufacturing by replacing steel bumpers with plastics, and thinner body steel was used in some of the parts. Also, from this model year onward, they got rid of the inner rear door latch, so you cannot open the door from inside. Glass headlights also was replaced by plastics. This, what I have here, is the first facelift model. I'm not complaining, it's still a perfect car for me, but I might be a little bit happier if I can get the pre-facelift model, especially with the glass headlights, so I don't need to polish it regularly. In around 2003, the second facelift model was available in two trims, GLI and LGX. The LGX one is the one with all-around cladding. Both of the second facelift models have split back row seats, which can make it a whole lot easier for the owner to make use of the full cargo space of this vehicle. This car is special to me because this is the first car I bought with my name as the legal owner. My dad got one back in 2001 after he sold his 1996 Proton Wira Aerobac. His Unser came with gold color. Me and my four siblings had a great time with that Unser because we didn't have to fight for space anymore. So yeah, I have a lot of nostalgia with Unser, particularly this model year. A lot of childhood memory.
Uh-oh, flashback time.
2001, Nokia was the king, and a single charge can last for a week. WTC Tower will not look like this for long. The anthrax attack several days after that, followed by the United States invasion of Afghanistan. Microsoft launched Windows XP and Apple Computer released Mac OS X. Wikipedia was launched. The deorbit of Russian space station Mir that was in service from 1986. Digital photography was matured and convenient enough, but still reserved for the rich one. Michael Schumacher was at the top of his game when he danced in the rain of 2001 Malaysian Grand Prix.
See the pattern on the tyres, Schumacher on different tyres, no doubt about it. It's clear to see from the pattern along the top and of course the speed through these dry corners. So Ferrari then, whilst it took a long time to find any tyres.
Closer to home, in 2001, saw our 11th Yang di-Pertuan Agong Almarhum Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah Ibni Almarhum Sultan Hishamuddin Alam Shah Al-Hajj and the Queen Yang Amat Mulia Permaisuri Siti Aisyah. Putrajaya became the third federal territory after Kuala Lumpur and Labuan. Fidel Castro visited Dr. M in Malaysia. And Siti Nurhaliza released her seventh album, Safar. Before this Unser, I bought two cars before. One was 1982 Corolla and another one is 1996 Nissan AD Resort with SR20DE engine, which on paper making 150 brake horsepower. The Corolla had some legal issues, making the change of ownership to me is almost impossible, and I ended up giving it to my friend who needed a car after his car was repossessed by the bank. The Nissan AD I bought it using my wife as proxy because I have traffic summons which are blacklisted and prevent me from renewing road tax. The Nissan AD is, as much I love it, it was electrical gremlins. And after my third child was born, I figured that I need a bigger family car so we can do a long trip without the kids having to fight for space and begin hating each other and me yelling all the time. The final nail in the coffin was when the aircon broke down and I have to sold the Nissan AD for Ringgit Malaysia 11k, but because the aircon was short, I have to sell it for RM 8,000. I bought this Unser for 8.5 grand, and I got to tell you, to find an Unser with an automatic transmission is quite hard. My wife only agree with me if I can get the Unser with the automatic transmission. Given the little budget I had at the moment, I had to compromise a few things in order to get this car. So I got this car for 9,000 ringgit OTR with 1 year insurance and road tax. Is mechanically sound and the interior is clean, but the exterior is a bit cosmetically challenged. There is no crusty rust everywhere, but a few spots on the hood which I treated with rust converter and aluminum tape. It does the job. Everything worked fine except for the clock and the odometer reset button. The old stereo system is now a kitchen radio, and I replace it with something with screen so I can use it with a reverse camera. With a vehicle like this, the rear blind spot is terrible to say the least. No matter how good a driver you are, you can't see anything shorter than 1 meter standing directly behind you. The legal classification of this car is classified as multipurpose vehicle or MPV. MPV looks like a more civilized version of minivan that looked like this in 2001. But internally, it is classified by Toyota as AUV or Asian Utility Vehicle. AUV is a basically stripped down version of SUV that were designed to be sold in developing countries, primarily in East Asia. They are marketed as cheap and simple transporter. It may look like an SUV but with no off-roading capability. But like a real SUV, it used body-on-frame construction. It was built on the 6th gen Toyota Hilux platform. It got truck suspension setup, torsion bar with double wishbone in the front, and live axle with lift spring at the back. It got a high ground clearance, but the side step minimally reducing the clearance. The side step is useful anyway. It's for the kids to climb up into the car and for me to climb so I can wash the roof. This car has everything I need for a useful family car slash workhorse. This is a completely no-nonsense vehicle, sitting for 8 adults, large on-demand cargo space, rear aircon blower, 4 power windows, central lock, wiper, manual side mirror, seat belts, and that's it. Nothing on this car is the thing that I don't need. The back row seat is a full-size bench with a decent legroom.
For the fuel consumption, with a relaxed driving style, you can achieve 10 to 11 km per liter on the highway and 7 to 8 km per liter for the city driving.
The turning radius is tight. Look at this, look at this. Is this a good car to buy? Yes, I fully recommend it. If you have little money and need to carry a lot of people and stuff, this is the right one for you. This car is built to last. If you can find a good one, you can't lose money for it. As long as you keep the condition and the maintenance, this car will not depreciate and you can sell it for the price you bought it. parts are cheap and abundant, and there's a great online community of the Unser owners if you need support. Of course, there's newer car that has better gas mileage, but there is more to a value of a car than the fuel efficiency, the cost of maintenance, spare parts, not to mention the bank interest and the depreciation. All of that will make you lose money. So in conclusion, buying this car is a good investment and I'm pretty happy with it. 0 to 100 km per hour time is, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds. I don't care. This car, it doesn't accelerate, it progresses. It's not quick, but what it does as a transporter, it can transport you from A to B, to C, to D, to Z, and beyond Z, without failing. That's what it is, a reliable transporter. Under the bonnet of this Unser is a straight 4 1.8 liter 7KE engine. 7 being the 7th iteration of the Toyota K series engine, and E stands for electronic fuel injection. On paper, it has 83 brake horsepower. There are also some rare options of 2.4 liter diesel version, which making the same horsepower but higher low RPM torque. Although the power output is quite low, it's more than enough to get around town and maintaining highway cruising speed. I've been putting about 20,000 kilometers since I got it on December last year, and the only thing I replaced is the thermostat, which the previous owner had strangely removed. Without the thermostat, it took forever for the engine to get to the operation temperature, especially when I'm driving around the Cameron Highland area. While it is lacking of high power, this engine rewards you with its reliability. This K-series engine is known for its robustness. It is a special engine, not because of what it has, but what it doesn't have. The first K-series, 1K, came from way back during the 60s when the first gen Corolla, and the same technology is applied in this 7th and final revision 7K engine, but with fuel injection instead of carburetor. Like all Toyota K engine, this one featuring pushrod, 2 valves per cylinder, and reverse flow configuration. It seems to be out of place, where in early 2000, every other new cars came with dual overhead cam, multi-valve, and cross-flow design. Reverse flow design is when both intake and exhaust ports are placed on the same side of the engine. It's supposed to be better for carbureted engine because, in theory, it makes the fuel and air a little bit better for maximum efficiency. But it fell out of favor since the introduction of electronic fuel injection. Both of the intake and exhaust manifold is located at this side and nothing in this side, only spark plugs. Modern engines use cross-flow head that gives better performance because the gases don't have to change direction and hence are moved into and out of the cylinder more efficiently. Since there is overlap between the intake and exhaust profiles, there is a point in which both valves are open, and at that point, the inertia of the exhaust gases leaving the cylinder helps to aspirate the intake gases into the cylinder. The other benefit for a cross-flow design is the intake manifold is not directly sitting beside hot exhaust port. This keeps the intake manifold cool, and cool intake air promotes greater volumetric efficiency as it is more dense and oxygen rich. Back to this 7KE engine. It is very easy to service. There's a tons of working space. Everything is accessible, so it's great for amateur DIY mechanics. The simplicity of the engine make the engine relatively small. Hence, you have tons of working space. High ground clearance also means you don't have to jack it up while doing the oil change. The fuel filter is located at the top. You don't need any tools to open it. Just need a strong hand. You can fix a toolbox here if you wish. Guys, this is what you don't see in modern cars. Metal radiator. There is 3 belts. One for the AC compressor, one for the power steering, and one for the water pump and fan. Some owners of Unser, they get rid of the clutch fan and replace with the electric fan, and as the result they got tons of space that goes straight to the ground.